There is no corruption too petty for Donald Trump. We're gonna describe what a former aide has revealed. And while we go through these details, I want you to bear in mind that Donald Trump, according to Donald Trump, is a billionaire. He has billions of dollars. Okay. In 2021, Trump's Make America Great Again PAC spent $37,500 a month for 10 months renting space in the Trump Organization building in Manhattan. The former aide says it's a huge scam. I can't believe his base lets him get away with it. That aide works there, letting people into that area. That is not the only way that they funneled money that was donated to them into renting their own properties. Trump's campaign also rented unused space. It was the same monthly amount his campaign had spent there from mid-2017 through the end of 2020, so for literally years. In all those months, there was at most one person who periodically visited the 7,000 square foot office in Trump Tower, according to this former aide. But Trump insisted on having the campaign continue renting there because the building was having trouble finding tenants. And so all of this is a few $100,000 that conservatives donated in small amounts because they just wanted Donald Trump to make America great again. And he took that money and he gave it to himself so that he could set up fake offices in vacant areas of his building. And again, $300,000 is a lot for me, other people around here, but if you have billions, that is so incredibly petty. And that amount is also fascinating in one other way. The $375,000 that he spent for this unused office space is more than the $350,000 that his Save America committee donated last year to Republican candidates running for office, which is supposedly the reason that he is raising that money, since he himself is not running and will not for some time. So he put more into dormant, dark rooms in his tower than into the future of the Republican Party. And this will end up bothering no Republicans. They won't care. Most will never hear about it, but they won't be bothered.
Guys, I hate to keep going back to the same thing, but that's what the answer is. It's the media. So I tell you all the time about how corporate media is simping for the status quo and cheerleading for it, and they lie ad nauseum in an alternate reality where the status quo is wonderful to all of you, right? Well, right-wing media lies to you, of course, on different grounds. And in this case, the right-wingers have no idea the degree to which Donald Trump is stealing from them. Do you know that in 2016, after the campaign switched to donor money instead of Trump's money, he increased the rent that he was charging his own campaign fivefold for the offices they were using in Trump Tower? Fivefold. As soon as it was your money. Don't you get it, right-wingers? No left-winger gave Trump money. It's not our money. It's yours that he's stealing. When it was his money, no, don't worry about it. When it's your money, he's like, charge him 5 times more. My followers are idiots. Let's rob them blind. He'd get to raise money from you to give to other Republicans, and instead he gave it to himself. Now, so if they knew that, would they still be okay with it? My guess is no, they wouldn't. But it depends on who's telling them. If I tell them to go, oh no, Cenk's a bad guy, he doesn't even realize that America's not a democracy, it's a republic. That's why we had to do the coup. I don't trust Cenk at all, okay? Okay, fine, CNN, you don't trust them, you probably shouldn't trust, okay? That's why I'm telling you, it's right-wing media. If Tucker Carlson turned on Donald Trump, and the rest of the media did, on the right wing, he'd be done in the span of about 2 weeks.
Yes.
He came out and said that he took the vaccine and he lost like a giant percent. Like we did a poll right after that, right? We didn't commission and we reported on it. And he lost like 15, 20 points among Republicans. If Tucker Carlson came out and said, Trump is robbing you, and he showed these same exact facts, people would be like, whoa, I didn't know he was robbing me. I'm not in favor of him robbing me. I thought he was robbing Muslims or Latinos or something. Okay, I mean, if he's robbing me, then I'm mad. But they will not say the truth under penalty of law.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to vote against your own interests, and it's another thing to vote for like the guy who's currently sticking you up at gunpoint. Like that's a very interesting Freudian, I don't know, something's going on there, but like, Yeah, Republican voters somehow really like this pain, and of course they're never going to know about it because it never gets reported on. They'll never know that when they tick that little box that said, "I didn't not want to stop giving $500 every week to the Trump campaign," that was actually going to charge their credit card a little bit more. I will just take issue with the idea that this was empty space. I do think Rudy Giuliani was up there with a go-kart, just doing donuts, having a grand old time. I mean, it was his home, and you should respect it thusly.
Okay.
And last thing, like, hit the brand. I love this idea that Trump is somehow, he runs the country like his business. He runs it like, look at his business. Nobody wants to even rent space he's a terrible autocrat. Any other country, right? You think people don't want to rent space in the autocrat's building? Of course they do. Not Trump. He can't even be a good totalitarian. He can't even do demagoguing right.
So I gotta state a couple more facts. To Francesca's point, there's literally a saying in gambling, the house always wins. Every gambler knows that, everybody who's gone to Vegas knows that the house always wins. He couldn't run casinos. They went bankrupt.
Yes.
They have to put an asterisk now. The house always wins. Asterisk, unless the moron Donald Trump is running it. And so the only thing he knows how to do is fraud and theft. That's why now he's under criminal investigation and is in a lot of trouble in civil issues in New York, because that's his business, fraud and theft. And so both his PAC and his own campaign charged for Trump Tower and other places that he owns without actually having offices there, robbing you in two different directions. And of course, as usual, the moron Donald Trump has told people, well, I had to do it because we're having trouble filling up Trump Tower. No, you moron, you're at least supposed to say, no, we actually had offices there. It wasn't for my business interest, it was for the campaign. It was really important that we have an office in the middle of Manhattan that's really expensive in a state we're never gonna win, right? You had to pretend to say that. Instead the idiot's like, well, of course, I had to rob you because I don't have enough money. And as long as right-wing media tells him, yes, sir, you all, if you're in the right wing, never even hear that.
The only thing I will add, because I know that we're over, is I don't know that Tucker Carlson is ever gonna do what you were predicting earlier, but he did go off about how having COVID makes you feminized. Trump had COVID. And also, I believe it was 2 nights ago, he did this whole thing about how emotionally well-adjusted people don't freak out when they lose an election. They don't refuse to accept it. They take it as an opportunity to learn. It's a normal part of the process. You can grow and develop. Now, he said all of this while implying that he was mocking Max Boot and Liz Cheney, but it obviously better fits Donald Trump as well as his base. So I don't know, maybe he's moving in the direction that you were predicting right there.
Yeah, he's gonna do a Raiders of the Lost Ark situation where he's gonna switch out the two objects and take out Trump and put himself in. We've already shown you half a dozen ways that Tucker Carlson is in the middle of doing that. And if you think that's gonna make it better, no, we're gonna replace a dumb fascist with a much smarter fascist. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.